Do you know how many men can walk around at 10% body fat year round? Not even just get to 10% body fat, but actually maintain it. That is a top 1% result. Let's talk about attracting high caliber women. How many men do you think are walking around who are pulling the 9s and the 10s? Fuck all. Another top 1% result. Now, what percentage of earners do you think are making 10 grand a month in Ireland? It's the top 1 to 2% of earners. And then in America, it's like the top 15% of earners that are making 120k a month. So you're talking about having the creme de la creme in terms of results. And you expect to be able to do what everyone else in society is doing. You have to ignore your reality. Because if you are in a room of 100 people and you've got all of these results in mind, bear in mind it's probably 0.01% if you want to have all of these 3 results at once. To have an elite level physique, to have the dream partner, to have the dream business. This is top 0.1% result. This is an exceptional result. And in order to have an exceptional result, as a byproduct of that, you are going to have to be the exception. And this same client said to me, he was like, oh, but man, it's pretty hard, you know. I was like, fucking good. I said, imagine if it was easy to get a top 1% result. I just said to him, just think about that for a second. You want this top 1% result. Why the fuck would it be easy? I said, you have to remember, you're competing against everyone else. It's player versus player. That girl who's a 9 out of 10, she's the perfect partner. Do you not think anyone else wants her? If you want to make 10, 20, 30 grand a month, that means you're going to have to be providing a lot of value. You're going to have a lot of impact. But in order to attract these clients and acquire these clients, do you not think you're going to be competing against anyone else in the marketplace? You are. So you have to, if something is hard to obtain, that's what gives it its value. So even when it comes to getting a physique that is 10% body fat, when you feel hungry on a daily basis, because if you're getting to 10% body fat, at some point in the day, you will feel a bit of hunger. Just realize, when you feel like cheating on your diet, somebody else did, and they're never going to get the 10% body fat physique. So you have just separated yourself from the pack. When you don't feel like doing your cardio because you're tired, just realize 10 other people felt tired as well, and they fell off. When you didn't feel like training, when you were fucking bollocksed after work, but you went anyways, realize 10 other people dropped off. When all of the lads went out drinking at the weekend, but you said, you know what lads, I've actually got a goal in mind that I'm going to fucking hit, I'm not coming. Another 5 people dropped off. The fact that something is hard to obtain is what gives it its value. Would you not be pretty pissed off if you've got this goal now of getting to 10% body fat, and any Tom, Dick or Harry could just start next week and they'd have a 6-pack all of a sudden? You'd be pissed off and it would have no value. You wouldn't even want a 6-pack then. You wouldn't even want an elite level physique, because it wouldn't be an elite level physique, because everyone would have one. If you wanted to grow a business to 10, 20, 30k per month, I can tell you for a categorical fact, I would be very, very pissed off if somebody could just start a business tomorrow and the next week they're making 10 grand a month. I've been doing my online physique and mindset coaching business for the last 3 years. There's been so many times where I felt like quitting. There's been times where, like say 3 years ago, where I had no clients. I spent the first 5 months trying to get clients and I couldn't fucking get any. I had 1 client for the first 5 months. Imagine how many people would have quit. There's been times where I've had dry periods where clients have left and I've been left not knowing what to do. But I had faith. I can remember one day, this is probably 2 years ago, I was in college at the time, and my dream, I just wanted to have enough clients so I could be working online full time, I could live where I want, and I wouldn't have to just get a regular 9 to 5. And I think I had like 3 clients at the time. I was posting content every day. I was doing my outreach. I was doing everything that I was supposed to be doing. And it was like 6:30 in the morning. I just trained, just done my fasted cardio. And I was driving to college. And I was just like, God, just give me a sign. Just give me something to help me along here. How many people do you think would have quit in that scenario? I was in college, I was working a part-time job at the weekend, I was commuting like an hour a day, I was training and prepping for a bodybuilding show. I was like, just fucking show me something. So many people would have quit. You have to realise, the harder something is to obtain, the more value it has. And every time that you push through and you persevere through them times where you felt like quitting, just realise 5 other people quit. You're separating yourself from the pack. And you have to also remember, when something is difficult to obtain and you're having these moments where you're having this doubt, you've got this fear of the uncertainty, that is building the character traits that is going to build you into a successful man. Having this delayed gratification. Even for me right now, I've got big aspirations within my business. But I've got to the stage where I've just got acceptance in the fact of, if I put in the inputs on a daily basis and I truly give my all, I know fate is going to play out and I'm going to get everything that I deserve. You have to be impatient with your inputs, but patient with the outputs. So aggressively put inputs in on a daily basis in alignment with your goal, but then have patience to be like, it's going to pay off. And realize the longer you can do that for, the more people you're going to outpace and outlast, and you're going to get the results that 99% of people cannot get. So don't run away and don't bitch and complain that something is hard to obtain, because it's hard for everyone else as well. So what you need to do is you have to start ignoring reality. And it can be hard when you're hanging around with people and you're the sum of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. And you can start comparing yourself to these guys and you can almost start inflating yourself. You'll be saying to yourself, sure, I'm going to the gym. I'm in decent shape. I'm eating healthy. I'm eating high protein options. I don't do what they do. As we said, 99% of people are retards. 99% of people are never going to get these top 1% results. So you have to completely ignore reality. And you have to start comparing yourself to the version of yourself you could be. And this is what I do with all of my guys on the Elite Standard. We go through a morning process called the vision, identity, calibration. We get clear on our vision, where it is exactly that we're going. We're not just saying, I want to get in shape. I want to have my own business. Yeah, I want to have a good chick in the future. No, we're getting clear on the specifics. So what we do is we go through a process called AM assumptions and AM alignments. Now, in the assumption process, what you're writing down first is you're getting clear on everything that you want from life. Because again, you cannot hit a target that you cannot see. If I said, I'm going to go on holidays. Okay, what does that mean? I'm going to go to the airport and wander around. If you said, I'm going to get in shape, what are you going to do? You're going to go to the gym. You're not going to have any clear specific outcomes that you're working towards. Therefore, you're not going to know if you're making progress or not. So get crystal clear on exactly it is that you want. I want to be 8% body fat. I want to have a fitness business that is making 35k per month. I want to have a chick that is a 10 out of 10. She's got all of these quality traits. I'm going to provide this much value to my clients. I'm going to go on this holiday with my mom. I'm going to do this, do X, whatever it is for you. Write down exactly what it is, where I'm going to live, what level network I'm going to have, who I'm going to be spending my time with. Whatever it is for you, just get crystal clear on everything that it is that your conscience is telling you you want from life. Your heart won't lie to you. When you sit down with a piece of paper, have a coffee with you, take some time, and write down what it is that you want from life. This is something that so many lads never fucking do. And then they wonder why they're 35 years of age, they're in a relationship that they fucking hate, they're in a body that they hate, they're in a career that they settled for, and they look back and they're like, well, I could have done this and I could have done that, but it's too late. Get hyper specific on what you want. I discovered this book maybe 3 years ago, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, and I only bought it again there the last day, and it was probably the best thing that I ever discovered. I felt like somebody was speaking to my soul. I was like, oh my God, someone's given me permission to actually write down what it is that I want from life. And then I can come up with a list of aligned actions that I can take on a daily basis. I can have faith in the process and I can get closer to that. Again, the path will illuminate as you walk it. When I picked up that book 3 years ago, maybe 2.5, probably 3 years ago, I didn't know right now I'd be living in Bali. I didn't know right now I'd have full autonomy of my day. I didn't know that I'd be living my dream life right now. But I took the first step. And that was writing down what I wanted from life. Again, if I could go back and find what I wrote back then, it's probably completely different to the reality that I'm living right now. Back then, I had written down, I can remember this, I'm living in the UK in a 1-bedroom apartment close to a gym. That was my fucking dream reality, and I'm online coaching. Now I'm living in fucking Bali. I've got full autonomy of my day. I do live 5 minutes away from a gym. And my morning process that I used to write down was that I wake up in the morning, I have my electrolytes, I have my coffee, and I sit down, get stuck into work. Then I go to the gym, train, come back. I'm living my reality. And that's because I've done that process. I have a slightly different version that I get my guys to do. So, went a bit off track there. But anyways, with assumptions, you're writing down exactly what it is that you want from life. Everything. Then you're going to write down, how would he act on a daily basis? How would he make decisions? And what character traits does he possess? So write down, he's very disciplined. And you don't write it down in that you're looking at this person from a third person view. You write it down as if you're living that reality now. I am very disciplined. I am very consistent. Then write down how he acts. I never miss a gym session. I never skip my cardio. How he carries himself. How does he speak? If there was a version of you right now that's 8% body fat, he's making 10 grand a month, he's got a 10 out of 10 chick, he's living exactly where he wants to live, how would he speak to people on a daily basis? Would he be speaking like, oh, hi, nice to meet you? Or would he be speaking with confidence? Would he be speaking from his chest? How does he walk? Does he walk with his shoulders hunched forward, or does he walk with his chest up, shoulders back? Remember, this version of you already exists, so don't wait for it to happen in reality. You have to act now, do that consistently, and eventually reality will catch up. So now you've written down what it is that you want from life, you've written down the character traits that this person possesses, and you've written down how he acts and how he makes decisions on a daily basis. So doesn't skip his gym sessions, doesn't cheat in his diet when he gets hungry, doesn't act like a fucking soy boy little bitch. Then you're going to write down, what aligned actions can I take today in order to get one step closer to my goal? Again, you'll be surprised how your brain will work. Once you actually write down, okay, this is my target, your brain will give you instructions. Your heart will tell you what you should do next. If you write down, I'm making 100 grand per month, your heart will start telling you ways that you could move the needle forward. I'm not saying you have to achieve that today, but write down, what is one action I could take to move one step closer to my goal? Let's say for you, it's, I want to get to 8% body fat. I want to have a lean and aesthetic physique that is dialed in and athletic. Then I'm going to write down, okay, what aligned actions do I have to take today? What would that person do? What would the guy who's already 8% body fat do? Would he hire a physique coach? Would he join that gym? Would he do a food shop? Would he hit a step goal? Would he hit his macros today? And write down exactly what actions you can take today to move the needle forward 1%. You can do this for your physique. You can do this within your career. You can do this within your relationships. Maybe it's, I've got a 10 out of 10 chick. She's classy, very nice, caring girl. Okay, the guy who's got a 10 out of 10 chick, don't ask yourself, how can I get her? Ask, who would I have to become? Who are the guys who are getting the premium chicks right now? What do they look like? What character traits do they possess? And you'll actually find, when it comes to anything within business or within relationships, it all streams back to your physique and your character traits. So let's say if you're like, okay, I'm making 10 grand a month, you could write down all the business strategies that you could do to get there. Or you could ask yourself, who is the guy and what character traits would he possess so that being successful in any realm of life, any endeavor that he pursues, would just be inevitable. He'd probably be very disciplined, very consistent. He doesn't negotiate with himself. He shows up on the days where he doesn't feel like doing it. He separates himself from the pack. He's not afraid to do any hard work. He realizes that if something is hard to do on a daily basis, that means 99% of people are going to think the same thing, and therefore they're going to drop off, and that's what's going to allow me to take the leaps forward. So get very clear, the assumptions and the alignment. Now, I've got a whole process that I run all my guys through on the Elite Standard, and it's my non-negotiable daily process, which goes over the assumptions, the alignment, and every other task and habit that we do on a daily basis in order to make hitting our goals inevitable. So if you want a copy of this, I'll put a WhatsApp quick link in the description below. Just shoot me over the message saying vision, and I'll send you over that process.